The Wicomico County Council is reconvened in legislative session 2017-16, June 20, 2017. Next item on the work session agenda is Wicomico County Board of Education, and I see everybody's here. Good to see y'all. If you can, be glad to have you come forward. And we never have enough chairs, so you can pull whatever chairs you need up with you, whoever needs to be here. Doing great. You got enough down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we pulled together an agenda of things that you all had
Great.
suggested as
Great.
topics and a couple
Great.
of things that we wanted to
Okay.
include.
All right. Excellent. And we see that I think we both have the same idea as far as the first item, the nominating commission, trying to sort through that and where we are and what we need to do. It's a work in progress. It's the first time we've had to do it. Okay, yeah, make sure you use these mics when you speak. So it seems to be coming along. I know that some of the first questions they had, and I know that almost immediately the county didn't want to get involved, as concerned about not creating any perception of undue influence.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Board of Education is trying to do the same
Same
thing.
thing.
Right. Some part of the law that was put into place did have responsibilities, administrative responsibilities, I guess, for assistance towards this group, yes.
They've called and talked with Nikki Vestal and Andrea Dooling in my office, and
Okay.
they've provided the assistance, as far as I know,
Yes.
that they've needed.
I think the meeting's gonna be at Bennett. So
Good,
that's-
yes, I saw that.
Nikki set that up.
Okay, all right. The letters that went out initially, we had them come here, and to avoid any conflicts, we made sure that they were sealed and that they immediately went to that board without anybody in our office opening them, so that they could at least have some central location for the application to be mailed, because they didn't have that. I don't think that's a problem we have in the future of establishing that as a regular procedure, you think?
Well, let me just first of all say that there were some applications that were opened initially, but then it's my understanding that the ones that came in later were just forwarded on to Mr. Brumley.
Forwarded on to who?
Mr. Ben Brumley?
Oh, Ben.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Opened
Open and date stamped.
from our office or your office?
No, we opened them in our office.
Okay,
From
all
what
right.
Laura's saying.
Okay.
Yes.
Probably because they
Okay.
just initially came in and they weren't thinking, they opened up all the
Sure.
mail and went, oh, some of this is not supposed to be.
And some of the applicants actually hand-delivered them and wanted a receipt, so we would date stamp that as well.
Okay. What else is it that we, I guess, and we can have individual meetings to try to fine tune this, we'll have enough time, I guess. Right now, I know that we just sent a letter out in reference to background checks.
I haven't received a
You
letter.
haven't received it yet?
That
Okay.
went out, actually, it went out yesterday in the mail, so you should
And
be
you haven't
getting
received it
it
yet?
either today or tomorrow.
No.
We'll grab one in the back office for you. But really, what that really, the purpose of that letter was to let you know from our position that we felt that the Board of Education needed to assist this commission on the background checks, simply because statute dictates that and we consider that part of administrative assistance. And we did not want, they had voted as a board to send the names to the council and then let the council do the background checks. But I had tried previously, before they voted, to emphasize to them that, you know, the last thing we wanted to do is to publicly receive these names and then have to publicly rescind some names because of problems with background checks. And it was sort of a bit of a backward, then we had to nominate new people all over again. So I felt it needed to be part of the initial process rather than something to be done at the end.
So we would assist them with doing the background checks on those names before they forward them to you?
Yes, right.
Now, all 14 or just the 6 that are coming to you all?
Well, that's a really good question. It's going to be a part of their process on what they decide to do. But honestly, I think that they should probably go through the process and give you, before they send the 6 names to us, give them to you. And if you find any problems, they take it back and then they find 1 more or 2 more. Yeah, I think that'd be the best way to
Because, you know,
proceed.
it's, you know, you pay that fee for 14,
Right,
and you only need 6.
exactly.
And when I put my name in, I pay my own, so, just a heads
I
up.
just wanted to check with Mr. Pavick on the turnaround time on a background check.
You never know, but it's usually just a couple of days.
Okay,
So that's the way you think we want to go. Whoever they come up with, the last 6, or the 6 names they're gonna bring to you, they bring to us, and then we do the checks. Is that what you're saying?
I think that would be the most efficient way to do it. What does anyone here
Yeah, I
think?
mean, no need to do all 14. Right.
Yeah, and that could be part of what their concern was, because they thought 14, oh my gosh, we're in, you know, it's a little, you know, they thought it might be too much. That would be a good idea, so maybe we'll send that in the second letter to you, Don.
Is that gonna be before I meet with you next time?
Yeah, hopefully it'll be, well, any other questions or comments from the council members as far as the commission, nominating commission? Or anything from you all as far as what you think maybe still needs to be tightened or, you know,
Well, I
loose
just,
ends need to be
I
tightened?
think that just, again, it's a learning curve. But I think we jumped in. Things should have been fine-tuned long before we got to where we're at now. Saying that, we can't go back and change that. We gotta go forward, so.
It kind of took us all by surprise, it really did. I mean, we thought, okay, we've done it, and then all of a sudden we thought, wait a minute. Now we have some serious work to do quickly before, you know, July gets here. So a lot of it, I think, was the fact that the council itself didn't start to initiate that process probably as soon as we could have. So we're getting there. Anything else that anybody wants to address from the nominating commission? You're all okay with it? Okay. I'm going by the list that you have because it's fairly somewhat similar to what we have. We had compensation for elected school board members. Again, I believe it's through state mandate that the Board of Education does that. I know that Joe Ollinger actually did a breakdown across the state of Maryland as what compensation was for you to follow, however you might choose.
Well, you know, yes, Joe did do that, but this is where I come from. We come in front of this council for money, extra money. And how can I come ask you to put in something to increase my salary at this time? If you all had plenty of money, and we got what we needed all the time, I'm probably the first one here. But I personally and other board members feel the same way. It's not the right time to do that. You know, and, you know, elections coming up. If those people that are elected want to do that, but I don't think it's right for us to do it at this time. So that's, we've talked, and that's where we stand on this.
You say you don't think it's right for you to do what?
To put in, to come to you all and ask you to go to the legislature for an increase for us. And it's roughly, I think what Joe showed, is roughly, I think in my case, $20-some hundred. If that's gonna hold somebody back from putting their name in to be on the school board, shame on them, because they're in it for the wrong reason. And that's Don Fitzgerald talking. Again, when I took office, I didn't know how
Right.
much I was gonna get.
Right.
And didn't
Right.
care, you know, so that's where I stand. And
Okay.
So that's where I'm at on that,
Okay.
so.
Any thoughts from council members as far as compensation? I can agree with you, Jim. I do agree with you. And I guess that brings up another question too. Once everyone's in order to make any changes, this commission will have to properly review and recommend a salary increase, just as they do now for the council members, for the executive, and for the sheriff. Because these are going to be elected officials. So this is going to be a base right now. Laura, do you think that the committee, what's the name of the committee, compensation?
Is Compensation Allowance Committee?
Do you think they will now have to include will they have to include the Board of Education?
No, they only do elected officials.
But they will be
They
elected.
will be
next year?
They will be
Oh,
elected.
I see what you're saying.
I don't mean now, I mean, you know, after
years.
this election process.
I think
We
we
can
can charge them
double
with
check.
it. Yeah.
So I guess the next thing we'll have to do is look in to see whether or not there's anything that we need to present and to pass legislative or through resolution that assigns that responsibility to that commission. Right?
We can make mention of that now, actually, to them. to see
Okay.
if that's something that
They're meeting
they can
now.
research.
Okay, that'd be good. And Bob, I don't know, I guess it doesn't hurt if they discuss it and then give us a recommendation. It doesn't require a formal piece of legislation at this time. They could just, and then again, it's not coming to us either. It's gonna be going to the Board of Education. It's only a recommendation.
No, I mean, it'd have to go to the legislatures.
In the legislature.
Yeah, I mean, the Board of Education, you don't set your salaries, and we don't set your salaries. The state legislature sets their salary, or, you know, so it'd have to go, you know, to our delegation, so. But that might be, that'd be probably a much better body to look at this than the Board of Ed appointed or elected, I mean,
I
or
can't
us.
see me coming to you now
Yeah,
and ask for more money.
Yeah,
And here we just trying to get extra money for the kids.
yeah.
right.
You know, in total of all 7 of us, it'd probably be around, from what Joe's thing, about $17,000 total would be the increase. Well, I'm not in the orphans court business, but the thing about it is, yeah, but they don't have the students that are, with needs that we have, so that's what we decided.
All right. So we'll keep a line on it and try to make sure we at
I
least
will.
start introducing that to their series of responsibilities. Any other questions for anybody on compensation? We good? The relocation of the Choices Academy.
We placed that, you all actually had that placed on your list, and I
Right.
didn't know whether there were any remaining questions.
I think Larry Dodd was probably the one council person that had, you know, had questions about it, but Larry's not here today, so I guess I'll have to maybe address it with you one-on-one.
Sure.
Was that land purchased
Yes, it's under contract.
under contract? And there's no building there now, or is it?
There is a gym on the property. It comes with the purchase. It's adjacent to the 3-acre parcel where we're going to relocate Choices
So you're gonna build a new building there?
eventually.
Eventually? Okay. The gym gets tore down that's there, or are you gonna use that?
It's staying in place right now until we determine what we're going to do with it.
You say adjacent, but isn't it across the street from the
Yes.
gym?
Yes,
Across the
sorry,
street.
wrong word.
So y'all brought that building, where the gym is?
Part
Just
of the
gym,
property.
Just the gym.
It's not the church.
Not the church. Just the gym comes with that property.
Will you use portables until you get a building built? Is that what you're
Yes.
gonna do?
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay.
So where they're putting the dirt and that where the building's going, or the portables?
Portables.
Portables.
Well, I believe that's correct. That's where the portables are.
Where the building will go?
Join us.
Let the expert come up.
Did you hear the question?
I did. So
Okay.
a lot of this has come together rather quickly, but we master planned the entire 3-acre site to include a future building at that point in time. So where you see the dirt moving now is where the modulars will be located, and that way a new building can be built down the road. They can stay in the modulars, and then the modulars would go away after they occupy the new building.
So they're really good.
It's a good practice.
Now, will that be a new item on your CIP as far as the new building, et cetera, et cetera?
More than likely not. We're going to look for alternative ways of funding that.
Okay.
More than likely, what we've talked about is a prefab metal building that, of course, we're going to be in partnership, as you've read, with the city, looking at how we can have multiple uses for that building where they can have a community center in the evening and on the weekends for students in the neighborhood.
Okay.
But at this point, we're not looking to include it in the CIP.
Is that kind of like a collaborative thing, like as the Board of Education does with the recreation parks right now, or after-school programming,
Similar.
kind of?
You might want to look, and I don't know where you would look for this, but I know somewhere in the charter or in the code or whatever, that any properties that are owned by the Board of Ed, if you cease using them, they revert back to the county.
Right.
So you want to look, see how that's going to affect all this.
The property is in the Board of Ed's name
Yeah.
only.
Right. But if you
But
build
that
a
would be
building
important
on it-
information for the city to be
Yeah,
aware of.
Yeah, if you build a building on it, it's going to.
The next item was the West Salisbury Elementary construction update, as far as the,
It's done. Sometimes you
Not
think
quite,
you
but
go
it's
by it.
moving well. Just a brief update, these are construction activities that are currently being performed. Sidewalk work begins tomorrow, pole bases and conduit for perimeter sightlights ongoing. The concrete slabs are complete, miscellaneous equipment pad, concrete work is ongoing. Load-bearing masonry walls in the classroom wing are complete, and they're now moving on to the kitchen walls and CMU in the main entrance corridor. 95% of the structural steel is in place. Exterior metal stud wall work is about 85% complete. Interior wall studs complete in the administration area. Metal trusses are being set at the main entrance area. Trusses at the classroom wings start this week. Metal deck will follow. This week, they're installing roofing insulation, ice and water shield over the gym area. All geothermal wells are drilled and they're all tied into the building. The primary electrical service conduits from Chop Tank are complete, and the main feeders in the building are about 85% complete. So the project is currently on schedule, and we anticipate substantial completion in June of 2018. Goal is for the occupancy by the administration in July of 2018 and by the students in September of 2018.
okay. No cost overruns or anything? It's all
No, currently we're on budget.
great.
Gail, geothermal, is it enough that like, they want to expand the school, that it would take it? Because I know Delmar, years ago, when they did that, they had to go back and put some more in.
For this particular project, no. The HVAC system was not oversized to accommodate a future addition.
So if the school is added on in the future, they'd have to go back.
If
That's
we
more
did
like-
that, the geothermal is combined with VRF, so could be an option for an addition to go air-to-air VRF instead of geothermal if we needed to.
Yeah, because I think that was part of it, is that initially an expansion module was considered, or whatever you call it, but
We asked for it. but
yeah, that was
we-
taken out.
I think it was part of that 15% reduction at the beginning of the
Yes.
project, so.
By that time, geothermal will be outdated.
Yeah, it'd be something else.
Something else.
And the next item we have is a Parkside High School construction project update.
So demolition has started on the second floor of Area E, which is the two-story classroom wing. It started on June 14th as soon as students got out for the summer. In preparation for a quick summer start, the second floor classrooms were relocated to that modular building that is adjacent to that two-story classroom. And they're going to remain there until the project completion. We worked hard with our instructional folks to try to come up with a plan that would disrupt instruction at a minimum. It is a phased occupied renovation. There are a total of 6 phases with various durations. The main focus of the project is the HVAC, ceilings and lights in areas B, C, D, and E. Essentially, we're working in all areas except for the CTE areas, which were done in the late 90s. Additional life safety systems that are going to be required due to this scope of work include sprinklers and fire alarm. The School Building Commission reviewed and recommended the GMP in May, and the board has subsequently approved it in the June meeting. Unfortunately, Fortunately, the GMP included the acceptance of all three alternates. Alternate 1 will provide corridor walls and doors for classrooms on the first floor of Area E, which is very significant for security and acoustical reasons. Alternate number 2 will provide new floors throughout Area E, and alternate number 3 will provide new lockers in Area E. So the GMP for the project, including the alternates, is $18,157,543, and project's currently on schedule. Of course, we're only a week and a half into it, but we anticipate substantial completion of Phase 6 by December of 2019.
Where you going?
I'm leaving you.
It was all thanks. At least it woke me up, man.
Yeah, where are we? I can't.
I'll have to bring visual
I
aids
almost
next time.
complete
Everybody away.
Any other question on Parkside? The next item that you all had included is technology one-time request update.
Yep, we just-
Kind of
we-
anxious to see how that's all playing out.
Right, and so we have our Director of Curriculum and Professional Development, Mrs. Ruth Malone, Supervisor of English Language Arts, Ellen Harlan, who are here to just give you a little bit of detail on how we plan to use that funding, and
Oh, great.
thank you very
Great.
much.
I'm glad y'all came.
Good afternoon. We first want to say how very grateful we are, and many thanks to the council for providing that extra one-time funding for this particular expenditure. And you can trust that the technology will be put in the hands of students and that it will indeed benefit our instructional program. And I brought one supervisor with me. The technology will not simply be in the area of English, but she was available to come and kind of update you with the idea of how the English department will be using the technology that will go toward them. It will be similarly implemented in other content areas where they will also benefit from that extra one-time spend. So thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, again, I want to reiterate what Ruth has said and thank you for the funding for the computers. That technology is so important for our students. Our goal is to make them college and career ready, and the world that they're going into, whether they're going to further their education or they're going to go into a career, they're going to need technology. They need to be able to use it on a daily basis. And so by giving us that technology, we're able to have more students access that technology. In language or in English in the high school, the teachers use it. They have students actually reading online, annotating on there, taking notes, and actually doing their writing on there. And they're having them submit their work through that online. So students who are going into college, that's what they do now. You don't hand in a paper anymore. Everything is turned in online. And so if we are not giving our students that opportunity in high school, then we're certainly not preparing them for the world they're going to live in. So we know that the technology makes a big difference. And if you walk through those classrooms just to see that student engagement, our teachers are so excited. They are putting online notebooks on there and materials and things that the students can access at home, in school, and on a daily basis. So we thank you.
Great, great. Yeah, the guy all the way down at the end, that was his proposal when we were going through our.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. It
But
makes a
again,
big difference.
I've said before, there wasn't anybody that refused. I mean, as soon
Yes.
as it was brought up, it was.
Yes, it is,
very
it's a
fun.
great need, and that will help our students. It just gives them that access and that comfort level, and they'll be able to go out into the world and be successful.
Well, we thought, that, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but we didn't really want to, overstep what work you had prepared, but I know that your first priority was the whiteboard, but we just felt that the laptops would probably, impact a lot more areas, a lot more schools, and, I mean, that's good for, motivation, things like that as well.
It is, definitely.
Absolutely. And we do have teachers working this summer on innovative projects and making sure that they are ready for that digital conversion. When you have access for every student to have a laptop in a given classroom every single day, instruction will change.
Correct. How many laptops are there in a cart?
It depends.
Okay, yeah.
We have been purchasing laptop carts of 15. Given our class sizes in this particular configuration, we are looking at laptop carts of 30.
Okay, yeah, okay,
So that accommodates any class that they go into.
I got you. Okay, well,
Great, thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very
Yep,
much.
thank
very
you.
glad-
Thank you again.
Oh, yeah, glad to help. Thank you. Any other topics of discussion? Yes, Joe?
I have a couple.
Yes.
Seen in the paper the other day, you hired a new public information officer?
A new Director of Communications.
New. What, can you explain that?
It was something I believe, perhaps you weren't present, that I had shared early on with the council, that one of the things that I heard a lot when I first came back to the system was the difficulty in communicating as much as we needed to the great things that were happening in our school system. And in this day and age, it's very difficult for one person to do that with multiple forms of media, social media, the written communications, resources to businesses, that sort of thing. So we spent a long time looking at a job description that this person, the many responsibilities. In fact, when it was first posted, I had some responses from people in the community. Wow, how's one person going to do all of this? It's a big job, and now it's a two-person department. So we're very excited that Paul Butler is joining our team from WBOC. As you well know, he has a very strong background in not only broadcast journalism, but also in public relations. So he'll be a direct report to me and working on getting good news out and resources out in the community so that we have the ability to be even more transparent in the community.
So you have two public information
Yes.
officers now, okay.
Yes.
The other question I had, Beaver Run, is that the next school in line for either replacement or remodeling?
I'm going to ask Mrs. Ashby to join us again, but yes, we've done a feasibility study, and want to update us where we are, Liesl, with that, in that work.
So we started the feasibility study last fall. I believe you were there for the School Building Commission when we took the tour, correct? So we wrapped that process up this spring. The options were presented to the School Building Commission. There was a subsequent work session with the board, and they had selected option C, which is essentially a replacement option as the most economical one, and it was in line with the previous fiscal year CIP request that we had put forward for a solution for Beaver Run. We are this summer replacing the kitchen piping so that will be addressed for the immediate use of the kitchen staff in the fall. So the feasibility study's been submitted to the state, the MSDE, for approval.
So is that the demolition of the whole school, or?
Yes, that would include demolition of the school.
The whole school?
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't think you ever say, "I'm not sure," do you?
Sometimes I do.
She's pretty confident.
Seems pretty thorough. Any other questions?
Oh, one other,
Yes, sir.
can you go back over the date, the timeline on when things will happen with that, or?
It all depends on funding. So what I can, so I'm not sure I'm going to say that right now.
You assume.
We are proceeding with structuring the fiscal year 2019 CIP request around that approved recommendation, assuming that MSDE will come through as well, which so far they have not indicated otherwise.
Right.
Depending on how the money comes through, we'll be structuring a schedule based upon that. So we just got through the master plan process, so we're flushing out the funding request right now. So we can probably give you a better answer in August.
I've had people ask, so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The only other thing I had was President Shani was speaking before us during public comments, and I know that you're in receipt of her email in reference to this student called Sam. So I thought I'd at least bring it to your attention that, because we received that as well. And kind of curious as to how that might have played out, and, what your take is on that.
So be very careful because of confidentiality issues with students. I can just tell you that we are working very closely with the family
Okay.
on this matter. Everything that you read in her letter may not have been entirely accurate, but we are working through our special education department with the school administration to make sure that that student's educational program is appropriate and that he's receiving what we call FAPE, free and appropriate public education. So
Okay.
we're working closely with the family, I think is the bottom line.
Okay. The other items you touched on was, I guess, I wasn't quite sure exactly what the reference was, but something to do with, I guess, the federal, I got the impression you was talking about the federal investigation that was initiated about a year or so ago, where there was a concern at the time as to whether or not the school was maybe taking too many punitive measures in reference to minorities. I mean,
The Department of Justice
yes, the
investigation.
Department of Justice was investigating, to a certain degree, I guess, those concerns. And I don't know what the fallout was or what the results were, and I guess in the public comments, he was suggesting that we ask you as far as what the results were and.
Oh, sure.
And how.
In fact, I can send you again what I sent
Right.
out at the time after we reached agreement with the Department of Justice. We felt
Right.
very good about the agreement because there wasn't anything in that agreement that we wouldn't be doing anyway.
Okay. And,
I'll be happy to send you that again.
well, I was more concerned, it was discussed publicly, so as long as we know publicly that it's being addressed, that was my concern. that
Absolutely.
We sort of air that here. Do you think there was anything else that has come up, which I may not be aware of, that may have been referenced, or that may have been the only issue as to this date, where there's been any oversight on the federal level?
I'm not
Nothing
sure.
else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Right, okay. Everything is in compliance as of now, and, okay.
Absolutely.
Because that was a question that was asked, and I just thought it was beneficial, since this is all in the same
Right.
airing, that we could have that answer today, which is great. The only other thing I have is that whenever you have stuff, invite us, let us know.
Yes, we plan to.
It seems like the Teachers of the Years, we missed those, maybe?
I'm sure you're invited.
I'm not sure if that got past us or not.
Usually
To the banquet?
I don't remember that, because it's something that it wasn't,
Okay.
was it? Yeah, we didn't get it this year.
We will definitely
Yeah.
make sure you're included in that because it's a wonderful celebration.
Oh, yeah, it's,
And,
yes.
and lots of other things that we do. We
Yeah,
we
that'd be great.
definitely appreciate your collaboration and support.
And the only other thing I have is, I'm very anxious, as you know, to see how we're expanding on our CTE program, or where that's heading, and what ideas you might have, or, on expanding it to more collaboration, more public-private partnerships. I'll probably be talking about that for a year. So,
I don't know what you want to know specifically, but I too,
I didn't put it on the list, I apologize.
that's okay. I'm a very strong supporter of career connections, making sure that students see relevance in what they're learning, and there's no better way to do that than career technology education.
Yeah.
So I know we'll be continuing to look at what are those fields that students may not only be interested in, but would also serve our community, where there's a need in industry in our community.
Yeah, it's a big discussion that always comes up, whether you're dealing with SWED, whether you're dealing with the Chamber of Commerce. And any time with the Tri-County Council, it seems like whenever we're talking about that has anything to do with economic development and trying to move forward, it always seems to gear towards some type of efforts that are needed for workforce development to help match the industries that are here, or may want, that we may want to encourage to come to this area. And it involves collaboration with a lot of areas, just as you do with Worcester, as it is now in so much, or Warwick, I mean.
You had the opportunity, I've been to 2 meetings in the last 3 days. Had the opportunity to pull up Senate Bill 1. And it has what we have to do for CTE programs by 2025.
Okay.
So, pull it up.
Increasing the number of students who
Great.
graduate
Yeah.
with some exposure
CTE.
to career
Okay.
technology education.
Okay. We'll do that. I know I didn't like being exposed. Ninth grade, I had to go to CTE class, and it took a half hour to explain the difference between a cold and a hot spark plug. And I went to administration, I said, if you don't put me in art, I'm gonna fail this class. So they put me in art. It's the first time I'd ever challenged authority. I know you need to know that.
Do you remember the difference in the department?
I never forgot, no, I don't know the difference.
I'll explain it to you.
Okay. So, anyway. Senate Bill 1.
Yes.
Thank you, Don. All right, any other input? No? Questions? Well, we enjoyed being at your meeting the other day.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate the invitation. Yep, sounds good.
We'll be sending you our meeting dates and agendas and even highlighting some particular items if we're having reports on certain things that may be of interest to you
Great.
in the coming year.
Okay, and we'd like to congratulate Dr. Townsend and Dr. Handy on their pending retirement.
Pending.
And thank you very much for your years of really excellent service. Excellent service. So, thank you. We're done.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Anything else on this side?
Bye, Mark.
I got a ball field to get ready.
Yeah.
You can come out.
Not gonna happen. Entertain a motion to adjourn a work session to go into a closed session.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Those in favor? All right. Hey,